Well, a tip of the hat, tip of the glasses to evmagazine.com, which, like the female sex, I have a sort of love/frustration with. Notice I didn't say love-hate. I call them to task a lot, but they're right on the money a lot of the time, and I think I've always drawn attention to when I think they're really especially on the sweet spot of the money, and they are in this case, certainly. They brought to my attention the fact that the New York Times, even the New York Times, is now saying directly, it's saying out loud in a full article. I don't know whether it's a front page article or not. I don't read the New York Times. I don't read other similar publications. But apparently even they are now saying the lockdowns were a terrible mistake, specifically with regard to school children and the effect that it had upon them. I'll link to the article below, but I think you probably won't be able to open it unless you have a subscription, and I don't intend to get a subscription, and I don't recommend you getting one, but that's up to you. But from what Evie published on their Instagram page regarding this article, the New York Times is saying, first of all, that the lockdowns had a terrible effect on kids being able to learn, that they just got thrown off, and they haven't come anywhere close to catching up for the time that the lockdowns were enforced and schools were closed. So that's the first thing. The second thing that they admit is that the lockdown had a devastating effect psychologically on the students, and that depression was up, suicide rates were up, every metric of mental health has worsened since those school lockdowns were enforced. So, and I remember there was I saw, again via social media, because I certainly don't watch Real Time with Bill Maher, but apparently there was somebody on there from NYU, some professor saying, well, I wanted there to be more severe lockdowns at the time, but now I understand that was a bad idea. But we need to get past that. It was so much the same rhetoric that was in that article. It's several months ago now, which I covered here. The one I think it was published in the Atlantic, where the title was "Let's declare a COVID amnesty." For all the mistakes that we made at the time. We were just dealing with what we knew at the time, and we did the best we could with the data that we had, and that's why we acted so crazy and like such tyrants, and that's why we basically allowed our worst selves to come out, and we became worshipers of authority, and took it upon ourselves to send dissenters into an everlasting darkness with great weeping and gnashing of teeth. If you don't wear something over your face, if you don't get the injection, then you don't deserve to live. Plenty of them talked that way at the time. It seemed to be sort of de rigueur at the time. I'm not hearing a whole lot of apologies for that. Maybe some people are sorry, and if they are, then that's fine. That's good. But if they're just gonna say, well, yeah, we were wrong, but we did the best we could That's not going to cut it. That's just not going to cut it. And I will not forgive or forget. And of course, what this article talks about schools and the effect on students, and that's well and good. That's one aspect of the atrocities that were perpetrated around that time. But we're not seeing. There's plenty of other things they could talk about. They could talk about how it ruined small businesses. They could talk about how older people who were on the brink of death were forced into isolation. Their families weren't able to see them in many cases, and the list goes on and on. I don't think I'm the cleverest guy in the world, but I knew when it was all happening that it was an atrocity. I knew that it was wrong. I refuse to believe that these big brains, these supposed intellectual types, who were so 100% on board with all of this and pushing it really in a manner that can only be described as relentless in its sheer scope, and who gave themselves over to the worst kinds of cruelty, of rhetoric towards their fellow citizens who didn't want to do certain things that it turns out they shouldn't have had to do, that never made much of a difference anyway. It's interesting to me that more and more the chattering classes, the ruling class, representatives of the establishment, more and more we're seeing more and more manifestations of this sort of thing. Yeah, we were wrong. Yeah, boy, we were wrong. Or yeah, this did a lot of damage here, there, in this place or in that place or whatever. But we're good people. The reason why we were so vigilant is because we're good. The reason why we were so vigilant, meaning tyrannical, is because we're such good people. We're so conscientious. And can you forgive us for just being a little bit, overly zealous during this time? Well, no, because I'm not hearing any apology. I'm not hearing a mea culpa. Until I hear that, there's where you can take your apology. Thanks for watching.